Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm Jordan Splinter. I am a presidential diamond, and I am so excited to just be on here and talking to you guys tonight and to get to do the team huddle with you. Just to give you a little bit of background of my story. So I have been in the business for a little over 2.5 years. March will be 3 years actually, which is really crazy. I joined after watching Brittany Hayes for just a little bit. She had actually reached out to me about trying some products, and she had no idea that we were struggling like super bad with money. We had gone from being a full-time military family. My husband was an officer in the Army. I was working full-time, and we decided to have a baby, get out of the Army, and go down to one income, like basically all around the same time. And I would not suggest that, you guys. It was not very fun. We basically just got way in over our head with bills and debt and just all kinds of things. And it just got tight. So Brittany had actually reached out to me about products, asking if I was interested in being a product model for her. And I wanted to really badly. I wanted to try the wraps forever. I never could find anybody that sold them. And I had to tell her no. And you guys, I ghosted Brittany Hayes, who is now an ambassador diamond in the company. I ghosted her for about 6 months, and she continued to check in with me and check in and see if I was ready to try products. And I would either not respond to her, or I would just respond and say like, hey, not right now. And finally I messaged her back and was like, hey, I really want to try your products, but I'm so embarrassed, like I can't afford them. And it was at that time that Brittany actually changed the conversation up a little bit and asked me if I would ever be interested in making some extra income from home. And little did she know that I had been looking for an opportunity for a while. I had been staying up and just crying and praying for an opportunity where I wouldn't have to put my son in daycare. I didn't want to go back to a full-time job, and I was looking for anything to do at home, you guys, that would work. And I looked at a lot of stuff, and they did not work. So I just felt like this was something different, and I talked to Josh about it. And you guys, I was so scared. I was so nervous, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But I hesitantly jumped in, and I remember messaging her, and I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm scared to death, but my family needs this. I'm ready to go. And I basically jumped in head first and told Brittany, whatever you did to get where you are, tell me, and that's what I will do. I just jumped in, and basically success leaves clues, you guys. And whatever she was doing, I was modeling that same thing. I started posting right away. I had no idea what I was posting about, you guys. Anybody else feel that way? Drop a 1 if you started and you're like, what the heck do I post? Y'all, I didn't know what to post, but I started posting like right away. I got my first post up that day, and I was like, what do I do now? Like, what's happening? So I would go to Brittany's page. I would look at old posts that she did, and she told me a couple other top leaders to follow, and I would look at their posts, save them to my phone, and kind of rewrite them a little bit. And you guys, ignorance on fire, not even kidding. That's what I did. And here we are 2.5 years later, and we're presidential diamond. We have retired Josh. We're a full-time family now, and we just have so much more to come, and I'm so excited about it. So that wasn't really a short version of my story, I guess. That took the first 10 minutes of the thing, but that's okay. I want you guys to just kind of get to know me a little bit. I want to have a level of trust here when we are talking about these topics tonight. So I know that you guys saw the graphic that I made that we're going to talk about 3 B's, and that is belief, breakthrough, and a boom. And I just want to talk to you about what that looked like for me in my business. And I can promise you that it's probably going to relate to many, many times in your business too. And if you haven't hit these moments yet, you're going to. So just listen and take notes if you're a note taker, and be prepared for it so that when you come to these places in your business, you know how to push right through them. You've heard from people who've been there before you, and you can just blast right through and maybe even take it, a lot better than I did. So I was listening to a podcast recently, and it was random how it even came up. Obviously not random. I believe that God appoints things and he puts things in our path. And I've never heard of this podcast before. I still don't even know what it's called. I can send it to you guys afterwards if anybody's interested in it, but it's basically like it stood out to me because it was like a women's business podcast type thing. And for some reason I don't even know what made me think like, oh, cool, it's a Christian one too. I don't even know if it said anything about that, but I don't know. I knew it. So I saw one and I played it, and you guys, within the first like 10 minutes of it, I was wrecked. I was like, oh my gosh, like, who is this lady? She's speaking to my soul. Like, how does she know my innermost being? Like, how does she know my thoughts? I don't know. And there were so many things in there that she said that I could not even take notes fast enough, you guys. And some of it I was driving and just mad that I couldn't take notes. So I went back and re-listened to it later. And she was talking about belief and just talking about what that looks like for us as business women, and even like in our life and different areas. But the first and foremost thing that I want to talk to you guys about and make sure that we lay this as the foundation here. Obviously, I don't know what everybody, we all come from different backgrounds. We all maybe even have different beliefs. I don't know. So I'm just going to talk to you from my point of view and my perspective, and you can take it how you want it. You can, make it fit to whatever you need to fit in, but I'm just going to talk to you from my story, because that's all I have for you. First and foremost, I believe that before we can truly excel in any area of our life, whether it's our business, whether it's, being a mom or being a friend or whatever it is, whatever we're like putting our efforts towards, the first thing that we have to do is we have to get in check our relationship with Jesus. And some of you might be like, what does that have anything to do with my business? It really has everything to do with our business, because I know if you guys have been on Zooms before, or maybe you're brand new and you haven't heard them, I'm sure if you go back and listen to some old ones, you'll hear this said. But before we can really excel in anything, you guys, we have to know, first of all, we have to know who we are, and we have to know whose we are. And I know, like I said, if you've been on Zooms before, I know you've probably heard Brittany say that and some other leaders say that. And I feel like I just keep hearing this in different places, you guys. And obviously it's God being like, Jordan, I need you to know who you are. I need you to know whose you are. You're mine. Okay, let's talk about this. Because you guys, if we don't know, if we haven't stopped, okay, we haven't taken a second to get that in check and just get ourselves right with God before we like go towards something, we're going to be all over the place. If we don't even know like whose we are, if we don't know who we are, if we don't know our identity in Jesus, like who God has created us to be, how can we ever go forward in anything in our life? How can we ever have a clear direction on anything that we're doing if we don't even know who we are and what our purpose is? So we have to get that in check first. And we have to know that He has called us to these specific places in our life, you guys. And I don't believe that we come to this business by coincidence. I don't believe that you saw whoever you enrolled with. I don't believe you saw their post by coincidence. I truly believe that we are all brought here for a purpose, whatever that is. We all have different walks of life. But until we know and believe, like I said, that we know like who we are in Jesus and that He has a purpose for us in this business, you guys, if we have that perspective, if we truly believe that, we can never feel stuck in our business. I want you guys to put a 2 in the chat if you have ever felt stuck in your business. If I could type right now, I would put a 2. I feel like, and if you haven't yet, you must be like 5 seconds into your business or maybe just super brand new and you haven't felt stuck yet, but it's going to come a time when you do feel stuck. But if we already have that first foundation laid and we are making daily actions to find out who we are in Jesus and what He's called us to do in our life, then we know that He has called us to this business for a purpose. And there is no such thing as being stuck, you guys. That's in here. That's in our mind. We had a Zoom with Pam Souter about a month ago, and she pointed that out as well. She was like, you're not stuck. Nobody is physically holding you. You are not physically stuck in the mud somewhere like where you absolutely cannot move. It's in our head. And it's because we let those fears creep in and that doubt creep in. And that's because, again, you guys, we're not keeping in check who we are and whose we are. Because if we truly believe that and walk that every single day, we would know that we have a purpose in our business every single day. We're not stuck. We just got to get our heads out of it. And you guys, I want you to, if any of you have read the Bible before, if you've read any stories, especially like in the New Testament, well, the Old Testament too, I guess, but if you have ever read any of those stories, you know that, okay, did Jesus call people to safe places? When he like had them do something and step out and do something, was it always like safe and comfortable? No, never. I don't know if you can find any story in the Bible where he asked us to step out and do something that we are 100% comfortable with, and it's like the safest thing ever, whatever it is. No, I mean, I could go into like so many stories with that. No. He called them to places that were out of their comfort zone. And you guys, he tends to call us to those scary places. Do you know why? Do you know why he called us to a business where we all felt so inadequate? Okay, if anybody came into this business and you felt 100% adequate, you're like, I have it all together. I'm going to go ambassador in like a month. I'm going to be making $1 million in a month. It's going to be great. I want you to put a 3 in the chat if you felt like you were fully equipped. You were perfect for this business. If anybody put a 3, you were lying. You lying through your teeth. No, none of us feel equipped, you guys. And he calls us to these places so that he can show up and show out, you guys. He comes in where we are so ill-equipped and where we have, where we feel so freaking uncomfortable, where we are like sweating, like our teeth are sweating, where we're like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing? Maybe you signed up and within like 10 minutes, you're like, oh my God, what did I just do? What the heck did I just do? What is this girl tagging me in? Why do I have like 20 notifications on my Facebook right now? What the heck? Like, what am I doing? Oh my gosh. And then you're like second guessing, you're doubting all these things. Okay. I'm being silly, but for real, you guys, he takes us to places where we're not comfortable so that he can show up and he can show where he has the power there and where he's going to show up and show out through us, you guys. And I wrote down a couple of things on here. Let me make sure I stay on my notes because y'all, I will get off on these tangents and we will be here all night because I get excited. So let me make sure I'm staying on here with this. I am, for the most part, I am. Okay. Yeah, he tends to call us to scary places because when we don't feel confident, he's able to show up and give us that confidence. And if we are secure in the fact that we know who we are, we were created by God, and that he has called us to this business, you guys, it just nixes out so much stuff. Because think about it, 90% of the worry that comes in your business and in your life, it's because we're afraid. We're afraid of what other people will think. We're afraid of failure. We're afraid, like, what if this isn't the right thing? And you guys, our God is not a God of fear. He does not give a spirit of fear. Okay, right? Anybody else know that? Let me see some hands. Anybody know that? He doesn't give us a spirit of fear, you guys. He gives us that confidence. And that's why we have to walk. That's why we have to have that first. And, oh, I'm going to get off on a tangent here, y'all. Let me make sure I'm staying on track. Okay, I'm just going to jump ahead to personal fears. Some personal fears that I had in the business, and even some things that I had recently, you guys. Like, okay, we all started as beginners in this business. We all started beginners at literally everything. We have a day one in our life, and we have to learn from there. And we all have fears in this. For me, recently, I was asked to speak in Boston at one of the corporate events. And you guys, I am a very introverted person. I'm not like, let me talk to anybody and everybody. That's just not me, you guys. And let me just tell you how those fears and doubts creep in. You know, maybe I'm excited and I'm feeling like, oh, okay, I got my stuff together. I know what I'm going to say on this stage, yada, yada. And right before I go on, what do you think happens? Anybody heard of imposter syndrome? Where you're like, what the heck am I doing here? Why did I fly to Boston? Oh my gosh, like, I don't have anything to say to these people. Why would they ask me to say this? They've probably heard this a million times. My story's not going to reach them. My blah, 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 blah. First of all, there's a lot of my's in that, and we're in our head, and it's a selfish thing. And two, those things are not true, you guys. Like, if we believe that God called us to this business, he calls us for those specific things. And I want you to take that in and take that personally. He called you to this for a specific reason. for each person that you're supposed to talk to, for each life that you're supposed to change. It's not just about us. It's about the people around us that we're going to impact that I won't be able to do. Like Melissa is going to have, she's going to have a network of people that I will never know. Sabrina, you're going to have a network of people that I will never meet in my life, because that's your people and God has called you to those people. And you guys, if we're letting those fears get in the way and we're feeling like, you know, we're doubting, then really what we're doubting is that God called us to this and that he's more powerful than we are. So, okay, let me get off that tangent right there. So you guys, just remembering who you are and whose you are, keeping your eyes on him, because when we take our eyes off of him in our business, that's when we start to sink. That's when we start to let fears get in the way. You know, maybe it's, you know, we're letting all this self-talk get in our head. Like, you know, how can I do this business? I don't have money. I don't have the resources. I don't have a network. I don't know how to work this. I'm terrified to go live. Anybody on here ever said that? Anybody on here still hasn't gone live because you're terrified to go live? Y'all, the first time I ever went live, I thought I was going to throw up. I thought I was going to, I don't even know what I said. It was terrible. And I'm pretty sure I went off on a weird tangent there too, where I was kind of like yelling at Facebook, and I don't even know what I was yelling about. It was so bad. Please don't ever try to go find that video because I probably deleted it. Okay. It was so bad, but we just start getting in our head and then we hold ourselves back, you guys. But it's when we have that belief. Okay. I'm going to take it back to this one more time. When we know and believe that he has called us to this business and that he has a purpose for us, you guys, if you just could fathom for a moment what that breakthrough would look like in your business, I have chills thinking about it because I've been there and I've walked through that. And that's not to say, you guys, that I don't have, you know, things in my business now that hold me back, because I 100% do. Am I ambassador yet? No. Am I ambassador 2.0 yet? No. Why? Because there's still things that I let hold me back in my business. There's still fears that I have, whether it's, you know, worrying about what somebody's going to say, or worrying about that nasty troll on Facebook or Instagram that has, you know, just rude things to say because they don't have anything else better to do in their day. But if I'm confident that I've been called to this business, that's not going to rattle me. That's not going to rattle you, because you're going to know that you have such a bigger purpose than some troll that's trying to, you know, say whatever they want to say on Facebook. I don't even know. Or maybe we get in our head and we're like, oh my gosh, but look at her. Like, why is she signing so many more customers than I am? Why is she signing some more distributors? Yada, yada, yada. And it's just this rabbit hole of self-doubt and negative talk and all these things that are keeping you from your breakthrough, you guys. So I want you to stop that right now. And when you start to hear those fears and those lies coming in your mind, when you feel that nudge, maybe you feel like, maybe you were terrified to go live. I'm saying this and you're like, oh my gosh, if I ever had to go live, I would just, okay. Let's just stop for a second and I'm going to tell you something. You right now that's feeling that way, do you know why you're feeling that way? You're supposed to go live. That's why you're feeling that way, because God wants to show up and show out in you. And he wants to show you that your fears are so small and insignificant because he is so much bigger, and because he has something so much bigger on the other side of that fear. Why do we want to let that hold us and keep us where we are and keep us from progressing? We all joined this business so that we could create freedom for ourselves. No? Why would we let one thing keep us from that breakthrough? I want you guys just to think about that for a second. Whatever it looks like, maybe it's not going live. Maybe you go live all the time. Diamond that's on here, girl, I love seeing you go live. I know you are new in your business and it makes me so happy to see you get on and go live, because I know people in this business who have been in for like a year and still haven't gone live. So kudos to you. Whatever that looks like for you guys, take that fear and I want you to write it down and I want you to cross it out. I want you to scribble it and I want you to give it no more power, because it does not have power over your business. And in those moments where you let that fear overtake you, I want you to stop and think, okay, my family really needs me to do this so that we can make ends meet this month. But sorry guys, I'm not going to do that because I can't do whatever you just thought about and wrote down on your paper. That's what I want you to think about. So when we're getting close to that 30-minute mark. Sorry, y'all. We're about to go to church. When we realize those things, when we can write those things down and recognize and call out those fears, you guys, and we can stomp them, first of all, and see them for what they are and speak against them, like bind up those negative thoughts in our mind and cast them out and speak truth into them, okay? That is when we see breakthrough, you guys. And when you start to feel those breakthroughs, that is contagious. That is contagious. When you start to get those customers coming in, when you start to feel more confident posting, when you start to feel more confident going live or talking to that potential distributor or even that potential customer or talking to somebody in person, you guys, that's my thing. That is my thing that holds me back in so many ways. I am terrified of talking to people in person. But am I going to let that hold me back from everything that God has for my family? Heck no. I'm going to stumble over my words until it kills me if I have to, if that means that I'm going to get that breakthrough and get to push back or get to push through that. And you guys, when we start to get more in life, we start to believe that we can have more in life. I never imagined in a million years when I started this business that I would be a presidential diamond 2 years later. I joined this business for an extra couple $100, you guys, for groceries and diapers. And I came from a family that we did not have a lot of money. Things were tight. I grew up, things were always tight. And, not that I ever felt like I had to do without anything, but I know that we did not have a lot of money. And you guys, I never, ever, ever, ever saw myself as somebody who could be a presidential diamond making what a presidential diamond makes, or retiring my husband, or all the things that this business has blessed us with. I never imagined that. That took me growing my belief, and it took me showing up and watching people that were already ahead of me and asking those people for advice, asking those people for help. Maybe it's something that I wasn't confident in. I was going to reach out to Brittany and say, hey, can you help me with this? Or, hey, can you help me with this conversation? Or maybe there's somebody who was a rank that I wasn't at yet. Maybe I was distributor trying to go Ruby. I was going to reach out to a Ruby and say like, hey, what tips do you have? Like, I want to be where you are. What'd you do to get there? For me now, I'm presidential going for ambassador. I'm going to talk to ambassadors and people beyond ambassador that can help me and show me like, what did they have to do to get that breakthrough, to get to that rank in their business? Reaching out, and you guys, that grows your belief. When you show up and you get around people who are just, maybe it's one step further than you are, getting around those people grows your mind so much. I never knew it was a thing to be able to retire your husband. I didn't even know Josh didn't even want to do that when I first started this business. He was like, I'm good. I like going to work. Okay, no, you don't. You don't like going to work and clocking in for somebody else. You want to be able to do what you want to do in life. Maybe, anyway, we're not going on that tangent. But it just grows your belief, you guys. And getting around those people, asking for help, that opens the door to be able to grow in those areas, you guys. And, obviously getting to events. And we have conference that's coming up, you guys. That is a Zoom for another time, but I'm telling you, if you have not gotten your conference tickets yet, that is something you want to be at. I promise you. You guys, I know that conference was so big in my business. I went to conference, my first one, I was a Ruby, but I was getting paid like distributor because I had set back in my business because we all have ups and downs. That month I went Emerald and got a $5,000 bonus that they had on the table. The next conference, I was a double diamond at conference, and I went presidential diamond within, gosh, how many months? January, February, March, April, within 3 months. We went from double diamond to presidential diamond. You guys, that's a matter of like a 4-figure paycheck to a 5-figure monthly paycheck. That's a big deal, okay? And that's getting around those people, getting to events and showing up to things, showing up to Zooms. And I'm telling you, like, when you are showing up to those things, it's not, we think of like, maybe you're like me and you think of a breakthrough as like a moment, like, it happens, like breakthrough. That's not what happens. Like, it's gradual, you guys. And then you look up and you're like, you feel it. You feel that breakthrough happening. You feel it coming on. You feel it welling up inside of you until you look up and it's like, dang, what in the world? Like, how is all this coming together? And it's because it's so contagious, you guys. And it's not, you hear us talk about showing up to these things, watching Zooms, watching trainings, getting to events. I'm so getting off my notes, whatever. Lord, speak through me. Showing up to these things, and we talk about getting close to the fire. You guys, I don't want you getting close to the fire. Okay? I do not want you getting close to the fire. I want you getting inflamed by that fire. I want you showing up to these things, and I don't want you just to take notes. And for me too, I don't want to just take notes. I want to live it. I want to experience it. I don't want to just look at the fire and be like, oh, that's toasty. Oh, that's good for you. Oh, yeah, keep me warm, until that person starts propelling forward because they're the ones on fire. No, they're moving forward. They're promoting and progressing, and we're still there, and we're like, oh, shoot, it's cold. I need to put some clothes on. It is cold. Why is it so cold over here? It's because we're relying on everybody else to like fill us up instead of taking those things and putting them into action and making it happen. And you guys, I am so guilty of this. I'm not preaching at you guys. I'm talking to myself too. It was so hard to write these notes because even 2.5 years into this business, even as a presidential diamond, you guys, there are so many days that I fall so short. I fall so short, and it's my own fault. Okay, so I don't want you to feel like I'm preaching at you. I am in this. I am in this with you, and I'm telling you these things so that you guys can learn from our mistakes, learn the things that we walked through that we could have propelled so much more forward had we done these things. But I want you to be prepared for when these moments come in your business, when you don't feel like doing what you know you need to do. Be on fire. Be inflamed, you guys. That is so contagious. Think about a wildfire, how fast that spreads, okay? Be that fire. And you know what that's gonna do? That's gonna spread in your conversations. That's gonna spread to your team. They're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like I wanna be where she's going. I wanna be a part of that. Or people are like, maybe, how can I say this in a nice way? Maybe Susie so-and-so was talking to Betty over here about joining her business or ordering products with her, but then she sees, I don't know, what's the name? She sees so-and-so who is inflamed and on fire over here and excited about her business and going somewhere. Do you think they're going to go with like Debbie Down or Betty over here? I don't even know, I'm making up names. Do you think they're going to go with like so-so, cold, shivering, not fun Betty over here in her business? Or are they going to go with somebody who's like, dang, she knows where she's going, she is on fire, spread that wildfire to me? That's what people are going to follow. You guys, that is how you get in that breakthrough. That is how you get those things going. And then I'm just going to tell you this, that's when you look up and you realize you're in that boom. That's not a moment. It's not like I don't know, maybe you think like a boom in your business is like, I don't know what you think it is, a certain amount of customers, a certain amount of distributors or conversations. No, it's when you wake up and see, it's when you've had your head so much in the game and you were trusting that God has put you here for a purpose and you were following the steps that he's putting in front of you. Because if we're looking around, you guys, if you're not watching where you're going, you're going to trip all over the place, right? We're going to be like stumbling over everything. If we're in new territory, if we're in a new house and we're looking everywhere, but we're not watching where we're going, you're going to trip and you're going to fall and you're not going to go places very fast. If we're watching where we're going, if we are looking at those steps that he's putting in front of us, one step at a time, and he's saying, trust me, I know that makes you uncomfortable. Okay, this step's a little bit bigger. Okay, this step's a little bit wider. Maybe it's going live. Maybe it's having that conversation. Maybe it's, talking about what your business is doing for your family in front of a really negative family member at Christmas this week. Who knows? You guys, follow those steps. Keep your focus where he has you and go. Keep walking. That is your breakthrough. That is your boom season. You're going to look up. You're going to be like, oh, shoot. This is really happening. This is what my leaders told me would happen if I stayed focused and if I watched those steps. So, okay, I'm going a little bit over time, but I just want to challenge you guys to just believe. Whatever is holding you back, whatever you are afraid of in your business, whatever you've heard your leaders talk about that they're challenging you to do, that you just feel like, oh my gosh, I can never do that. Stop and think for a second. Why can't you do that? Why not? Why? If it's going live, go live for 2 minutes, next time 5 minutes, next time 10 minutes until you get better, you guys. None of us, we don't come out of the womb running. We come out, we don't know what we're doing. We're like, somebody teach me. We've all got to learn. We've all got to learn those baby steps. And the more you do it, the more that it's going to come so naturally to you. And you're going to be like, how did I ever let that thing hold me back? How did I ever let that keep me from, whatever it is, from that promotion, from progressing, in my life, from upping my paycheck, from being a better mom, from being a better friend, whatever it is, you guys. So I think that's everything I had for y'all. I hope that my rambling wasn't too crazy and that you got where I was trying to go with this. But I love you guys, and I challenge you to just believe. Take those fears, squash them, write them down. And hey, if you're feeling extra confident, if you're feeling like, yes, I want to get this breakthrough that you're talking about, I want to get this boom when we're about to go into boom season. Y'all thought I was going to talk about boom season, didn't you? Nope. But if you want to feel that boom as we're going into that boom season, I want you to really take these things in, you guys, and put them into action. Write those fears down. Send them to your enroller. If your enroller quit, okay, send them to your next person. They quit too, okay, send it to your diamond upline, your double diamond, your triple diamond, your presidential, your ambassador, whatever it is. Send it to that person and say, hey, these are my fears. Write a truth beside it. This is my fear. This is what the truth to that is. This is my fear. This is how I overcame it. Hold yourself accountable to that. Have somebody else hold you accountable that's already a step ahead of you. And you guys, watch what happens. It's going to be incredible. Okay, let me just make sure I haven't missed anything in the chat. Oh, there's a lot in the chat. Oh, man. Y'all are awesome. If anybody has any last minute questions, I don't know why you'd have questions from that, but just in case you do, you can put them at the bottom so I don't miss it. Abraham and Isaac, yes. I need to have somebody go through the chat for me so I can make sure I'm not missing anything. What's the podcast? I will add it in Fire Tribe. I'll put the podcast link on the graphic that I made for this. It's so good, you guys. You're probably going to hear a lot of the same things over again, but that's okay. That's okay. It's so good. Okay. All right. I'm sure I'm missing something in there. I'm so sorry. That's a lot of stuff to go through, and I don't want to make y'all just sit here and watch me scroll through comments. So love you guys. I hope y'all have an awesome week. Merry early Christmas. I hope you guys have an awesome time with your families. Do the work now so that you can play later, you guys. Take the time this week. Family's over, get away for a few minutes, still work your business, don't put it on the back burner, you guys. We have these freedoms because of this business. We're able to do the things that we can do because we have something that's bringing in this income from your phone. Like, what the heck, you guys? So, love y'all. I hope you have an awesome week. Merry Christmas, and we will talk to you guys later.